Baseball, Cumball, Brumbella, plots, subplots, the Edgbaston Classic had it all and more. England may have lost the game, but it was a perfect advertisement of Test cricket. But all said and done, Australia now have the all important lead in the Ashes series, while England would feel the need to square things up come the next test at Lords. Ben Stokes has confirmed that England will continue with the baseball template, come what may. To preview the first test, to review the first test on India.com Cricket Country, we have with us Jaideep Ghosh, who's a senior sports journalist. We have Biswajit Jha, who's an author and a ex-sports journalist. We have Nikhil, we have Utkarsh, we also have Kaushik. I'll start with you, Jaideep, over here. It was a riveting test match. Went down to the final day. Baseball, of course, big advertisement for test match cricket. The
Mhm.
future, we have already seen the future now. But eventually, baseball did not win it. It was come ball, as they are now terming it on social media. Come ball edged baseball. As weird as it may sound, that is how it is. So now
Yeah.
Australia, they go one up. So, Jaideep, what do you have to say? I'll also tell you why I've asked you this question is because you see, Steve Smith and Marnus Labuschagne, both of them have not contributed big like they were expected to.
True. True.
Yet, Australia have gone on to win the test match. So now England is totally on the back foot. Ben Stokes is saying that we are going to continue the baseball template. But how feasible is that now? With stakes really high, this is the WTC cycle that started. What do you have to
Right.
say, Jaideep? Opening
Okay.
remarks.
Couple of things. One is if they're saying they're going to insist with baseball, I think they will because let's look at it this way. With this discussion we had yesterday also, the English team is not the strongest. They don't have the best, lineup. I mean, if you compare between Australia and England, I think Australia are head and shoulders above in all departments practically. Now the thing is that they have to throw in some surprises, but the funny thing with baseball is that the same thing might not happen again, which means that the tactic they have employed in the first test might not be applicable in the second. At the same time, couple of things they got wrong. Obviously, I mean, when you lose a test and you lost in the last hour of the fifth day, so doesn't get much closer than that. One thing I was a little surprised that Jimmy Anderson didn't get any overs when push came to shove. Doesn't matter what he has, if he's not confident enough. I mean, the rest weren't doing much of a job either. That was a little bit of surprise. Tactically, again, we saw eventually what happened was that they had to go back to the
But again, you see,
regular.
Jaideep, Jimmy
Hmm.
Jimmy Anderson wasn't getting a lot of purchase out of the track.
Doesn't matter.
He has just
Doesn't
picked
matter.
up a single wicket in both the innings. So
Yeah, but then when you're coming to a situation where the rest are also getting, carted around the park, you have to take that option. He has experience with him. Anything can happen. I mean, it's like saying, like, if you're going to play a hand of cards and one of the cards you've decided in advance that this is not going to be employed, then you've handicapped yourself. I mean, I don't think that was really a good idea. But yeah, all said, it was a good tactic, very fascinating to watch this whole process of how they did it. England were a little short on their bowling, and they're looking even shorter now after that. And if they have such kind of flat tracks, and as you said, Labuschagne and Steve Smith just have not come to the party yet, it might be an uphill task for them. But I'm all for baseball. I mean, as long as it keeps the Test cricket riveting and everybody interested, why not?
of course, no doubt about it. We all are loving the baseball template and all of that. Biswajit, how do you see? I mean, of course, Jaideep had pointed out the other day when we spoke about baseball and its future, how feasible it is, how sustainable it is. Jaideep had said it's gambling. He did not want to use the G word, but he did. And he said it is gambling. So England have gambled. That has backfired. Of course, very narrowly. But Biswajit, what do you make of it? Now that Smith, Labuschagne both haven't fired, England would know that these guys they are due for a big one. So don't you think it's England totally on the back foot? And you might actually see Ben Stokes not walking the talk.
No, no, it has not backfired yet, Ankit. You have to understand the quality of the team. Australia are much ahead of and they have the upper hand. So in quality wise, also the Australians are good. But despite that, England has created some inroads into the Australian like team, and they took the game till the last hour. That is also an also a positive sign for England. And the thing is that when you take that risk, like you take the risk, and you have to consider that if they hadn't declared on the first day, the match would have ended in draw. The amount of rain the time rain consumed. So it's a brave move. England did really well. England took the game to the where, and that's the ultimate the victory of Test cricket. And I think that England also played really well, and it may happen that in the next games also England may lose. But when you decide to like take a gamble, you have to continue with that. And the thing is that they need the support from their like spectators, from the crowd, from the English people, English cricket loving people, and with their English cricket board also. If they have the support of this, like their cricket lovers and the board, they may carry on.
Right. Nikhil, you see, Jaideep made a point where he said that, Jimmy Anderson wasn't used well. Uh, Australia, let's talk about the last day, yesterday itself. So, Australia were on the mat, 72 odd to get, with 3 wickets in hand. From there on in, with 20 odd overs left to go in the game, England one felt had the upper hand in the game. So, where did Ben Stokes get it wrong, Nikhil? I'm assuming you watched
I
the game. So,
I
where
did
did
watch the
Ben
game,
Stokes get
and
it wrong?
I did watch the game, and the game was as close as it is. Yeah, it was Pat Cummins' heroics, you say, that turned the tables on them. A 2 wickets victory is like as close as you get in the game. So I won't like blame it on baseball that you lost it because of it. And but the decision, yes, should have given Anderson a chance. The experience yet alone, like Jadisha said, is tremendous. You can count on it. He must have not gotten the wickets, but a game as close as he could have gotten much closer into that. And you might even have won that game somehow. So you should have given
So,
Anderson much more
so,
chances. And
so,
plus
so
the overcome
tactically,
conditions.
so Nikhil,
Yes.
tactically somewhere Ben Stokes got it
Yeah.
wrong, right? Right.
Yes. They were plus you
Right.
see one of the session was washed away. And so they had to think otherwise. Sometimes you gamble, like Sir said, and some of your gambles backfires on you. So you were trying to win that game, the game which was eventually heading towards a draw. If you see the weather condition and stuff, but you still gave it a result. So a little you get a miscalculation and stuff that happened that resulted in that uh, steep loss.
Utkarsh, आपको क्या लगता है? Like, did Ben Stokes get it wrong with the captaincy somewhere? You think? And if so, what? Where did he get it wrong? Because England had Australia by the scruff of the neck, and then they somehow let that slip. And Utkarsh, अगर तुमने देखा होगा पहला innings में जब England were bowling to Australia, they tactfully got those tailenders out with those amazing field settings, bizarre as you can call it, Brambella settings and all that. Second innings में क्या हुआ? You think Australia was ready for all of that? All the unorthodoxy of Ben Stokes that he was throwing at the Aussies? क्या हो गया? You think Ben Stokes को थोड़ा बहुत और conventional खेलना चाहिए था?
आई गेस मेरा कहना ये है कि 80 ओवर तक इंग्लैंड गेम में थी, लेकिन उन्हें 88 ओवर के बाद जब सेकंड न्यू बॉल अवेलेबल थी, उन्हें सेकंड न्यू बॉल तुरंत उन्हें नहीं ली, तो वही सबसे ज्यादा उनका मतलब मिस कैलकुलेशन होगा, क्योंकि वी ऑल नो कि जो इंग्लिश कंडीशंस में जो ड्यूब बॉल होते हैं वो थोड़ा मतलब टाइम लेती है स्विंग करने के लिए, और फिर उन्हें जेम्स एंडरसन को सेकंड न्यू बॉल से आई डोंट नो क्यों नहीं बॉलिंग करवाई. वी ऑल नो जेम्स एंडरसन विद द न्यू बॉल एंड टेल एंडर्स बड़े डिस्ट्रक्टिव बॉलर है वो, अराउंड 1100 विकेट्स उनकी फर्स्ट क्लास क्रिकेट में, तो आप उनको क्यों नहीं बॉलिंग करा रहा? आई नो उनका मैच अच्छा नहीं जा रहा था, बट एक इतना ज्यादा एक्सपीरियंस प्लेयर, और अगर टेल एंडर फ्रस्ट्रेट कर रहे हैं तो जेम्स एंडरसन को पता है कि उन्हें कैसे आउट करना है. हमने फर्स्ट इनिंग्स में भी देखा था, उन्हें भी कंटिन्यूसली शॉर्ट बॉल डाली थी, ऐसा नहीं था कि वो अपनी मतलब स्ट्रेंथ वाइज में थोड़ा वीक थे, मतलब वो एफर्ट्स पुट नहीं कर रहे थे, वो भी शॉर्ट बॉल डाल रहे थे, हर एक चीज कर रहे थे. तो मेरा यही है कि जो उन्हें न्यू बॉल लेट लिया, अराउंड शायद 4 ओवर्स उन्हें लेट ली थी, वही उनको ना गेम चेंजिंग हो गया. उन्होंने सोचा कि हम ना ओल्ड बॉल से जो रूट को 1 या 2 ओवर दे देते, तो वी हैव सीन की जो रूट ने जब ओवर डाला था पैट कमिंस को, तो उन्हें 2 सिक्सेस भी मारे थे, तो वो मिस कैलकुलेशन, वो मिस फाइड, उसकी वजह से इंग्लैंड ना हार गई. नहीं तो इंग्लैंड ये मैच जीत सकती थी, क्योंकि इंग्लैंड वन एकदम 80th ओवर तक पूरी गेम में थी, टाइम टू टाइम विकेट भी ले रही थी. इवन बेन स्टोक्स खुद आके उनने विकेट ली उस्मान ख्वाजा की, जो वेल सेटल्ड सेट बैट्समैन थे. एलेक्स कैरी भी आउट हुए थे, तो पैट कमिंस और नेथन लैंड भी अगर तुरंत ही न्यू बॉल से खेलते तो मे बी ठीक है, पैट कमिंस थोड़ा रेसिस्ट कर सकते थे, वो न्यू बॉल खेल सकते थे, बट नेथन लैंड को थोड़ी दिक्कत होती. नेथरलैंड ने उन्हें ओल्ड बॉल से थोड़ी बैटिंग करी, तो वो भी थोड़ा सेट हो गए थे कि उनको भी पिच का पता चल गया था. जब न्यू बॉल आई तो तब तक टारगेट भी थोड़ा क्लोज इन हो चुका था, अराउंड 30 odds रन रह गए थे, तो फिर थोड़ा बहुत तो उनकी मिसकैलकुलेशन हुई। और फिर इंग्लैंड की जो अप्रोच है बैस बॉल की, वो मेरे लिए तो अच्छी अप्रोच है, क्योंकि अगर आप एग्रेसिव इंटेंट से आप अगर क्रिकेट खेल रहे हो, तो आपको ठीक है, आपको रिजल्ट एक या दो मैच में नहीं मिलेंगे, लेकिन अगर आपको पॉजिटिव रिजल्ट ओवरऑल आ रहे हैं, हमने देखा अभी तक जब से बेन स्टोक्स कैप्टेंसी में आए हैं, तो वो 3 मैचेस ही हारे, तो हम ये नहीं बोल सकते कि बैसबॉल थोड़ा गलत अप्रोच है। बैसबॉल अच्छा अप्रोच है उनको, और हमने 2015 वर्ल्ड कप में भी देखा था, जब इंग्लैंड ग्रुप स्टेज से बाहर हो गई थी बांग्लादेश का हारने के बाद, फिर उन्होंने अपना पूरा रिवैम्प करा था, पूरा एकदम अपना प्लेइंग स्टाइल, और 2019 में वो वर्ल्ड कप भी जीती थी। तो हम अभी इतनी जल्दी जज नहीं कर सकते कि उनका बेसबॉल गलत है या अच्छा, हो तो टाइम बताएगा ना, मे भी हो सकता है वो वर्ल्ड टेस्ट चैंपियनशिप फाइनल खेले इस अप्रोच के लिए, अप्रोच के थ्रू, तो वो टाइम हमें बताएगा।
I think, I think, I think after the first 11 minutes into the session, I think Utkarsh has hit the nail on its head over here.
Absolutely.
Kaushik, you think Ben Stokes actually got it wrong, right? I mean, Nathan Leon with the new ball, these these guys coming in, running in hard. Nathan Lyon obviously would have been in a problem. You think Ben Stokes got it wrong right there?
Yes, definitely. I mean, if you see, as everyone said, England were in the game till the 80th over, and after that, I mean, when as Utkarsh rightly said that if you hit Nathan Lyon with the new ball, then it would have been difficult for Nathan Lyon to actually counter those attacks. So I think uh, Ben Stokes missed the trick by not allowing James Anderson to bowl in those last overs, because see, anybody can have a bad game, anybody can have a wicketless game, but that doesn't take away the skills and the experience that James Anderson has. He has been in this circuit for more than for close to 2 decades, and he has all that experience. And in on English conditions, James Anderson. I mean, if you had given James Anderson a few overs in the few overs after the 80th over, he might give you one wicket, and that could have been England's game. So I think not giving James Anderson a few overs towards the fag end of the fifth day uh, might did not work for Ben Stokes.
Yeah, okay. Couple of
Please,
points.
please, please.
Utkarsh has got it absolutely right. They should have gone for the new ball right on the 80th. After 81st over should have been the new ball. There is no debate about it. That one. Second thing is we need to go a little further into the innings in the terms of we'll say mid 70. When Joe Root got Alex Carey out, I think that was the time that he should have been replaced as a bowler. He had done his job. There was no reason for him to be continuing anymore after that. He did continue. He bowled, I think, after the 80th, I think the 81st or the 82nd over, he went for 14 runs when Pat Cummins hit him for. That is where the momentum shifted. Absolutely right about that. Second thing is that about Jimmy Anderson, Jimmy Anderson is the kind of bowler you could have even given him the older ball, the 75-year overall ball, and give him a couple of overs and see how it's going, because it wasn't like the ball was, it was carrying off the pitch some tremendous way that any edge will go for a six. It wasn't like that. You had to carve the runs out. The pitch was beginning to die, and on a dying pitch, getting runs is not easy. So, a guy of that experience with the kind of line and length that he can, adopt, I think definitely should have been tried earlier, and definitely after the 80, I mean after 80 overs, there was no question of not having the new ball. Yeah, the philosophy is that the new ball goes further in terms of when it's the bat, but then it went further anyway, so it really didn't make much of a difference that way. Yeah, I think that is one step where I think the entire process went a little haywire, both for Stokes and surely for the coaching team also inside. Otherwise, it was, like we were all discussing, it's a little bit of a gamble. Even keeping Joe Root on was a gamble, but it failed, and that is a gamble they shouldn't have taken.
This Jaideep, 2005, there was this Ashes series and the
Right,
very famous Ashes series. We still talk about it. And yesterday's Test match was kind of similar to what had exactly happened during the
right,
second Test match at Birmingham, the same place. And
correct.
that time Australia were on the losing side. If you remember, they lost the game by 2 runs.
2 runs, yes.
I think Michael Kasparovich and Brett Lee were in the middle. I think it was
Yeah,
Kasparovich who
that's where you
edged
got
it,
out.
and
Yeah,
yeah. So that was so now Australia they have got back, at England, and I'm sure. I mean, this win of Australia will actually remind remind fans of the loss in 2005,
Of
right?
course,
All all
absolutely.
said and right. All said and done, Jaideep, going ahead, what should be England's strategy? Because you see, a lot is at stake over here. You just can't go and play, cricket like that, where you know that there is high risk cricket and you may actually end up on the losing side. What should be England's strategy right now?
Well,
What
couple
would
of
the talk be in
yeah,
the dressing room?
absolutely. I'd say there are two things you need to understand. One is this whole philosophy that we saw yesterday, that Jimmy Anderson himself went and said that I am not bowling, give the ball to Broad and the other guy. Now the thing is, would a batsman in a situation like this, he has got a duck in the first innings, come and say I can't bat or I won't bat? That is not how it works. It's for the captain to decide that you want to, doesn't matter what, if you're doing well, fine. Otherwise, bowl. That is one. Second thing is tactics. Okay, now the strategy is, if Jimmy Anderson is having a confidence issue and he's not getting any younger, let's face it. So, are we going to see a change in the bowling lineup? I'd seriously doubt it. I don't think they're going to go with any changes in terms of the lineup. Yeah, Moeen Ali might be out because of his finger injury. That's a different thing altogether. Whether and with all due respects, Moeen Ali is not the best spinner even in England. So I was a little surprised that he. I mean, I guess there was that was one thing that was a little defensive. This is what, remember, we were discussing our test squad. We are going for a spinner who can bat.
I
This
was
is a
coming to
situation.
that. I was coming
Yes,
to that. I was going to make that
yes,
comparison. I
correct,
was going to make that comparison with Ravichandran Ashwin, the fact that he wasn't picked being a right arm
absolutely,
finger spinner. And look at Nathan Lyon, what he does. He picks up
absolutely.
8 wickets. He runs through the English batting order.
Completely.
So
Your spinner has
just
to be
imagine.
somebody who will be afraid for his spin bowling, not for his batting. So that
Right.
is it. I think this is where they got it a little wrong. Maybe their spinning lineup in this squad is not good enough. But yeah, but tactically, I don't think they see, baseball doesn't mean that the same three things will be happening again. They'll do three different things, which they'll have to try. And they can't just step back and say, okay, we made a mistake. They are not going to do that. They are going to try it at least for one more test, see how it works out. Yeah, it was very close anyway. Let's
Is
face it.
is is
Yeah.
is 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 ego taking over sensibility?
No, I don't think it's still an ego situation. It will eventually become an ego thing, but not right now. I think they're just working on a plan they have used, and it worked out. I mean, let's face it. One good over this way, that way, they would have won the test match. So it's not.
Of
It was
course,
very
of
tight.
course.
So yeah, it's not ego, but yeah, the tactics will change. Baseball will stay, but the tactics will be a little different, maybe.
You see, Biswajit, Lyon and Cummins, of course, pulled off a heist, right, Biswajit? But England, they could have actually put this game beyond Australia on day one. Root was batting on 100 plus. Robinson was also in the middle. you know so that is where I'm talking, that is where I'm coming from. Ego over sensibility. You could have batted that last hour and dragged the game a little further, where you're taking it towards either a draw or an English win. You had the option, you could have done that, right, Biswajit? What do you have to say? Or you still feel that Ben Stokes did the right thing by declaring on day one, and then gambling big? What do you have to say, Biswajit?
No, Ankit, it is easy to say in hindsight. That day, I think that was the moment actually. Had they hadn't declared, then it would have the match would have ended in a draw. That was the possibility also. So,
But
in
isn't it
term of
safety first? Isn't it safety first?
that they have to decide. They have to decide. The team which played under Indian team which played under Dhoni, they did the safety first approach. So that is the team management to decide. That is the they have decided not the safety first. It is not, we are not the right person to talk about safety first or not the safety first. That is they have to decide. They have decided to be brave and they played like that according to their planning. And whatever happened in the hindsight you can say that this happened, this could have happened, but when you take any decision and especially in a high risk decision, the chances that you may win and you may fail also. So 80% chances of winning and 80% chances of failing also. So it is like that. Australia, I think, more calculated risks, and they played in a more normal way. That is their plan, and they won it. And we can't say right now that they won it because of that particular reason. That we also don't know. Ankit.
All right. Jaideep, you seemed a little animated. You want to say something, add something over here?
See, safety first, as Viswajit was saying, and we have also discussed. Ego doesn't come into this. Remember, we had this discussion yesterday also. This is a pre-planned thing that we are going to, if everything goes well, if we have X number of runs at the end of day one, 15, 20 minutes, half an hour, we are going to put the opposition into bat. No ego, it was a plan. They planned it. I mean, let's face it, this was one of the return catches that Joe Root dropped. Two of them, I think, he dropped. He'd taken one of
Right.
those, this match would have been over before the 80th over. So that's not how it works. It's the thing is that, like we also discussed yesterday, nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Even Ben Stokes dropped Nathan
Yeah,
Lyon
exactly. That
when he was
was,
on
yeah,
two.
exactly. If Land was out, then there's nowhere on earth that
Hmm.
Australia would have won it from there. It's all there. Was it's a cricket match.
Exactly.
I mean, I think England ticked most of the check boxes. I was a little surprised at the bowling choices and the not taking the new ball. That apart, I don't think they did anything much wrong. And like Vishwajit was saying, and with the weather is always a thing in England. We had discussed this, remember, about the WTC also. You don't know when it's going to rain and how long it's going to rain. And we were lucky that it was just one session, could have been the whole day. You don't know with what happens with English weather. But yeah, I don't think that we can pinpoint a certain position from where England lost it. Barring a little bit of panic, I think towards the end of the fifth day in terms of bowling choices, the rest of it was, I think, pretty much as per the script that they had planned for themselves. Didn't work out. That's fine. It might just work out on the next occasion. So not really much to blame on that.
Kaushik, Kaushik, how good was Usman Khawaja? He was damn good. What do you have to say about his knock? The century in the first innings and a half century in the second essay. I mean, a little bit about Usman Khawaja. Kaushik, I'm so sorry you're on mute.
See, Usman Khwaja was hungry to get runs under his belt because you see in the WTC final he didn't fire in both the innings. So he was hungry. He was preparing for these Ashes, and I think before WTC final he was more focused on performing in the Ashes. So and he's always a classy batter. I mean, at the top of the innings with David Warner, he's someone who could give you, I mean, that upper edge with his batting for this Australian team. So it was expected from him. I mean, at a time when David Warner, the likes of David Warner, Steve Smith, Manu Sen, all had their bad days. It was expected from him that Khwaja will do something, and he delivered. That's it. And as I'm predicting, he will be the trump card for Australia.
Utkarsh, do you see any changes being made to the Australian team or the English side?
नो आई डोंट थिंक कि ऑस्ट्रेलिया मतलब चेंजेस करेगी, वो सेम प्लेइंग 11 से खेलेगी। हाँ, एक हो सकता है कि मे बी मार्क वुड खेल ले, क्योंकि लॉर्ड्स टेस्ट है और फिर मार्क वुड मतलब एक पेसी बॉलर भी अराउंड 150 के वो मोस्टली डालते हुए, तो मे बी हो सकता है मार्क वुड खेल सकते हैं। अगर मोइन अली की अगर फिंगर इंजरी ज्यादा होगी तो मे बी मार्क वुड रिप्लेस करेंगे मोइन अली को, क्योंकि जो रूट की मतलब ऑफ स्पिन वो जो डालते हैं वो अच्छी डालते हैं वो, मतलब ये नहीं है कि वो रन लीक करते हैं, वो मतलब टैक्टिकली बॉलर भी अच्छे हैं, रन को मतलब वो रोक भी सकते हैं और हैंडी विकेट्स भी ले सकते हैं, तो मे भी मोइन अली की जगह मार्कवुड हम देख सकते हैं खेलते हुए। और ऑस्ट्रेलिया तो सेम लाइनअप ही रखेगी, कोई चेंजेस नहीं रखेगी वो।
Looks like Australia surely is going to have the advantage heading into the Lord's Test match, the second Test match. I'll take predictions, quick predictions. I probably know what is the prediction coming from you people, but yeah, Biswajit, start.
No, England will continue to play like that only, that aggressive brand of cricket. And result can be when England will play like this. The result can be anything. They can win, they can lose. They can also, like, it can be that they can be 100 all out for 100 also. You can see that. You have to be ready for that also. You can see that they can hit 350 on the first day, and they can again, you can also see that they are all out for below 100. That is the high risk game they are playing right now, and I think that's the only thing they can play. That's where they are good at right now. So they should play
Biswajit,
and test
Biswajit,
cricket.
Biswajit, 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 can we talk about percentages over here? We'll get a little more clarity on things.
No, with the
Who,
with the with the high risk game England is playing right now, there is no percentage. Percentage of winning that high and percentage of losing is also that high.
you're playing it really safe, it seems like.
No, no, I'm not
Jaideep,
safe. This is how it is.
Jaideep, the English media had a lot to say about the result yesterday. They literally ripped these guys apart. You see the quotes in some of the newspapers that have come out today in the UK. It's hilarious. Just imagine if this was India, the same would have happened. Right. But heading into the second test match at Lords, do you see England continuing the baseball way? Ben Stokes walking the talk like he has promised at the post-match presentation yesterday. And if so, what are the percentages? Who holds the edge? Come Lords.
See, like I was saying earlier, baseball will continue, but baseball, you have to understand, is not just these three things. They most probably come out with something else altogether. They will do a lot of thinking about what went wrong, obviously. Uh, yeah, at least for the next, and it's a kind of situation where you cannot even step back and say, okay, we made a mistake. We'll go back to the orthodox stuff, and then lose. So you would have to take that risk and
You'll be
find out.
left red-faced.
Absolutely, red faced and black and blue will be separate.
The
So
media will rip you black
yeah,
and blue.
yeah. So that being said, I think they will try. They will try a few things surely, which are not quite same as the Edgbaston test. As for in terms of percentages, as Biswajit is saying, a little dodgy for doing percentages, but in terms of man to man, I think Australia is the better side. And if they can
Of
hold
course,
their
there.
own, I think Australia might come out winning the series. But it'll be great fun and it'll be tight for sure.
Kaushik, I would ask you the same question. Predictions, please.
Uh, see Australia are the top side in this Ashes. There's no doubt about that. But with England losing the first Test match, I think they will be more hungrier. So I will keep England a slightly above than Australia. Maybe it can be 51-49 for England, but it will be a highly competitive game. And in terms of changes, I don't think England will make any changes. But if Australia does also want to change, they might change Josh Hazelwood with middle start. That's it. Nothing more than
Utkarsh,
that.
आपको yeah. Utkarsh, you get the chance to have the final word over here, Utkarsh. आपको क्या लगता है कौन किसका पगड़ा भारी रहेगा come the Lord's Test match?
आई
Yes,
गेस
Utkarsh.
इंग्लैंड का मतलब एज थोड़ा हाई रहेगा, क्योंकि वो इंग्लैंड का एज थोड़ा हाई इसलिए रहेगा बिकॉज वो ज्यादा हंग्री होंगे इस बारी जीतने को, और वो चाहेंगे कि हम सेकंड टेस्ट मैच अच्छे से जीते, हम अपना मतलब एग्रेसिव ब्रांड ऑफ
लेकिन
क्रिकेट खेल के
लेकिन
जीते, वो
लेकिन लेकिन
डिफेंसिव
लेकिन
ब्रांड में नहीं
लेकिन लेकिन
खेलेंगे।
लेकिन 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 उत्कर्ष इंग्लैंड को ये भी पता होगा, कि स्टीव स्मिथ ने रन्स नहीं मारा है, मार्नस लाबुशेन ने रन्स नहीं मारा है, और ये दोनों अगर टिक गए चलने लग गए तो ऑल देयर प्लान्स कैन जस्ट गो फॉर अ टॉस। आपको क्या लगता है ये भी तो उनके जहन में होगा?
ठीक है, अगर स्टीवन स्मिथ और मार्नस लबुशेन ने फर्स्ट मैच में रन नहीं मारा तो बट उनके लिए भी तो वो प्लान था ना। स्टुअर्ट ब्रॉड ने अपने पोस्ट मैच प्रेजेंटेशन में पहले बोला भी था कि आई हैव अ प्लान फॉर बोथ, कि मैं मेरी स्टॉक बॉल बेशक इन स्विंगर है लेकिन मैं उन्हें कवर्स की तरफ हिला के आउट करवाना चाहूंगा, और वो दोनों इनिंग्स में वो उन्हें आउट करा मार्नस लबुशेन को भी और स्टीवन स्मिथ को भी। तो अगर ठीक है, अगर स्टीवन स्मिथ और मे बी मानस लबुशेन फर्स्ट इनिंग्स में फायर करे तो, लेकिन ये थोड़ी ना कि वो सेकंड इनिंग्स में भी फायर कर सकते हैं। मे भी हो सकता है इंग्लैंड अपना कोई प्लान बी या प्लान सी लेके आ जाए उनके अगेंस्ट, अभी उन्हें कवर्स के थ्रू आउट कर रहा है, उनके पास कोई और प्लान हो, क्योंकि इंग्लैंड के पास भी तो बहुत एक्सपीरियंस बॉलर है, स्टुअर्ट ब्रॉड है, जिमी एंडरसन है, दे और ऑल्सो एक्सपीरियंस, उन्हें भी पता है कि वो उनको कैसे आउट करना है, कैसे नहीं, कैसे स्टीवन स्मिथ को टैकल करना है, कैसे मार्नस लबुशेन को टैकल करना है। तो ये बड़ा एकदम टाइट कॉन्टेस्ट होगा दोनों के बीच में, और थोड़ा इंग्लैंड थोड़ा हाई इसलिए रहेगी बिकॉज इंग्लैंड चाहेगी कि अब हम बाउंस बैक करें, और फिर जैसे इंग्लिश मीडिया ने भी उनको बड़ा रिप्ड ऑफ करा है, एकदम उनको पूरा एकदम स्लैम करा है कि ये बेसबॉल क्यों खेल रहे हैं, ये वो एग्रेसिव ब्रांड ऑफ क्रिकेट क्यों है, नॉर्मल क्रिकेट खेलना चाहिए। तो इंग्लैंड थोड़ा मतलब कॉन्फिडेंस भी अपना हाई लेके आएगी, एग्रेसिव ब्रांड और खेलने की कोशिश करेगी कि एक स्टेटमेंट दे कि इंग्लिश मीडिया को भी स्टेटमेंट दे और सबको स्टेटमेंट दे कि ठीक है, अगर हम एक मैच हारे तो ये जरूरी नहीं है कि हम नेक्स्ट मैच भी हारे, हम जीत सकते हैं इस एग्रेसिव ब्रांड ऑफ क्रिकेट खेल के।
Right. So, now that we are coming to the end of this session, we are going to wrap it up. What we understand over here is that England may have lost the match. They may have, conceded a lead to Australia. But for sure, baseball is a massive hit. It is a massive hit. The point over here is how long can England actually continue this? What if they are 2-0 down in the series? In the third test, are they still going to play the baseball template? That is something we'll watch out for. But still, the second test match is coming up. There's a lot to look forward to. Thank you for joining me in this session on India.com Cricket Country. Stay tuned to this website for all the latest across sports. Thank you so much.